Well, that was quite impressive, really, wasn't it? And a touch unexpected, it has to be said. West Ham are through to the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup, League Cup, EFL Cup, whatever you want to call it. We're there, and we're there at the expense of Arsenal. You're going to pinch yourself if you don't know the result. I'm sure you do, because everyone's got a smartphone, really, haven't they? But I'll tell you anyway, it was West Ham 3, Arsenal 1. I'll say it again, just in case you think there's something wrong with your ears. It was West Ham 3, Arsenal 1, and fully deserved, absolutely fully deserved, by the way, and some wonderful, wonderful performances, which we're gonna go through and hopefully enjoy together. I did say when we did the build-up show, just as I was leaving at the end of the build-up show, I said I'll see you back here at the end of the game, a few minutes after the game, and we'll see what mood we're all in. I said I might be grumpy. Well, I'm not grumpy. I'm in a very, very good mood, it has to be said, as I'm sure all of you are, unless you're an Arsenal fan joining this stream by mistake. If you are, you might want to go and watch an Arsenal one because and drown your sorrows on there. Because I think I'm certainly in the mood for celebrating West Ham's win. I'm not going to talk about David Moyes and all of that sort of situation, but this is just as a game. And a win for West Ham, really, really good. I got a taste for trophies. I'm sure you have too. And to be into the quarterfinals gives you a genuine buzz. I suspected this might happen if we won. I'm not saying that. Actually, I did predict we win, didn't I? I predicted we win 2-1. There you go. However, I'm not sure how much I believed it or how much I expected it. But I tell you what, that were two very, very different halves. But I think we were the best team in both halves for two very different reasons. The first half, we were 1-0 up, but we hadn't had a shot on target. So figure that one out if you want. But for all Arsenal's possession, I think Fabianski, I've got some notes here. I think Fabianski only had one proper save to make in the first half. So a flick on, maybe it's a header from Havertz or something like that, and he sort of had to push it over the bar. Aside from that, he had very, very little to do. And I mean, listen, he had to gather the ball on occasions, but nothing that really, really tested him. And in fact, I think Fabianski really only had two proper saves in the whole game. Even that one at the end on the 87th minute, I think it was comfortable. Was it Odegaard shot at the end? I don't mean the goal. They scored their goal very, very late, just in case you don't know. We were 3-0 up until 94 minutes of injury time, and it was 3-1. Doesn't give it a gloss of respectability. That is a bad result and a bad loss for Arsenal. But I talk about two separate halves. I'll go to the goals individually in just a second. I just want to give you the sort of vibe of the game as I saw things, really. The second half, we were better as well. First half, real defensive resilience. The pressing, some of our pressing was exceptional, off the chart. The team worked so incredibly hard. Everyone, and I mean absolutely everyone in that team, run their arse off. A bad term. They got no arses. They ran their arse off in that game. I thought it was an incredibly high work rate performance. That's why we were better in the first half. Second half, we were lethal. We really were. Second half, we started purring. Paquetá, I mean, it wasn't Paqueta today. It was definitely Paquetá. Was absolutely purring in that. But we'll get to some individual performances at the end of the video. I could honestly, speak about all 11 of them. I won't. We're going to leave that for our player ratings. Little plug for our Patreon. If you go and join us on Patreon, it's our third Hammers Chat channel. Links in the description below, patreon.com/Hammers Chat. Myself and Jill will be doing a player ratings tomorrow, but we'll pick out some choice performers in this video. Make no mistake about that. So the first goal our West Ham went ahead was a corner from, I mean, the irony, no James Ward-Prowse in the starting lineup. No James Ward-Prowse, no problem. Jarrod Bowen swung over a corner, really dangerous corner, actually. And Ben White sort of headed it home. Now, I mean, into his own goal. It was an own goal, basically. Now, I mean, there was a lot of talk about maybe Thomas Souček would possibly he'd fouled Ramsdale, but yeah, maybe there was a little bit of that. But this is what we do at corners anyway. What I would also say, if you go and look at that back, Souček was also being fouled at the same time. So if anyway, whatever. Irrespective of that, it was still a ridiculously bad header from Ben White and a wonderfully curled corner from Bowen. You knew Bowen was on form and doing the corner as well, because actually David Moyes brought brought Ward-Prowse at the end just before a West Ham corner, and Bowen still took that one, even though Ward-Prowse had run over there. Bowen went, "Nah, go on, off your trot, mate, I'm taking this," and actually did another dangerous corner there. So West Ham were 1-0 up in the first half. And you know what you worry about? You worry about this this lethargy that West Ham seem to have in the second half. And it's, I often say, does David Moyes give them Valium at half time? Does he sing them a lullaby? The second half, West Ham seemed to come out slowly, half asleep. Not in this game, not on this occasion. Never mind giving them the morphine. I think it had been on the old Colombian marching powder in this one, and they came out really motivated, full of energy, and went on the attack. And there was a little move in the first half, very early in the first half, where Lucas Paquetá sort of broke through and he had to play a little pass through to Jarrod Bowen. He overhit it, he mucked it up. He found himself in the same position very early in the second half. Didn't muck this one up. Played a nice pass to Bowen. Bowen got his shot off. Ramsdale saved it, and it almost bounced in the goal. Very, very close to scoring. So we set out our intent very, very early in that first half. Before I talk about our second goal, what put us 2-0 up, I just really want to make the point. When I said we were full of energy in the second half, don't let that fool you into thinking we weren't full of energy in the first half. That was as energetic a pressing performance I've seen, ironically, since last season when we played Arsenal, which I think there were two. I think there were two back-to-back games that cost Arsenal the title. They may argue that Arsenal may argue that actually was the game. I think it might have been Sean Dyche's first game. I think Everton beat Arsenal last season, but there were definitely two games. I remember they were cruising against or looked much better team than Liverpool, and they didn't get the result against Liverpool. And then there was a game that we played against them. And do you remember we were pressing them really high, and Declan Rice nicked the ball off of Thomas Partey, and then we went on and scored a goal. And I think we were really pressing brilliantly, and I think this is the best we've pressed since then. So I didn't really feel we sat off them. We were snapping at their heels. They were all at it. Bowen, Benrahma, Kudus, just pressing from the front, constantly pressing from the front. So our energy levels in terms of our work rate was incredible. Vladimir Soufal, incredible work rate. So I just want to make the point. We were very, very feisty and energetic in the first half. What we had in the second half was we had attacking energy, which I didn't feel we necessarily had that. It was brilliant. The second goal, wow, that was a wonderful, wonderful goal. It was, if you haven't seen the game, if I tell you now that Odegaard played a long-range crossfield pass with his left foot from the left side of the field to the right side of the field, you will know the type of pass. We've all seen him do it before. This time it wasn't from Bowen towards Bowen, because Bowen wasn't on the right wing. It was Kudus that was on the right wing. It was a magnificent goal. Both from the pass from Odegaard and then what Kudus was going to go on and do then was amazing. It was I felt it was an amazing bit of skill. I felt maybe the commentary team were a little bit harsh on his first touch. I was loving it. I love what I saw from Kudus then. Controlled the ball, got the ball away from him a nice distance, which allowed him to strike with his left foot. It's a beautiful goal, a precision, the strike of an assassin with his left foot. It was an amazing goal. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And at that point, 2-0 up, you're thinking, no, can we? But I've got to say, they didn't look like scoring. And I know ultimately they did score at the end, but you're just going to have to take my word for it. They didn't look like scoring. I said we do our player ratings. I make notes ahead of our player ratings video that we do the morning after the game. And I was trying to do my player ratings for Fabianski. And you don't want to give anyone a low mark when we've played well. Actually, he's had naffle to do. He had barely anything to do. And that is the measure of how well we played. So what I should probably give a little bit of credit to, some of the other players. I thought the partnership of Mavropanos and Odegaard was really, really good. Crikey, Mavropanos is strong, really strong. He might get a little bit of criticism for that last goal. I didn't get an awful lot of time to look at it. I've got to be honest with you, because when it gets right to the end of the game, I've got to pack up, I've got to fold down, I've got to get me notes, I've got to run down here. I'm basically down the end of the garden, set up the camera and all the rest of it. maybe could have done slightly better, but don't let that detract from his performance. I was impressed with Mavropanos as a pairing. It's really interesting to have two fast centre halves. Really interesting. I thought they did remarkably well. The fullbacks were great. The whole defence and the team in front of them worked so hard. That's why Fabianski didn't really have much to do. The stats might tell you otherwise. They might say Arsenal had a few shots. Well, I'll tell you what, they had a lot of possession. They might have had some shots, not dangerous ones. Not that we were fully in control. So the only reason I mention it, I actually needn't have worried, really, that Arsenal were going to break through and we're going to score against them 2-0 up, because we were in cruise control. And I think we only conceded at the end because it was the 94th minute, because we knew we'd won. I think if we'd have played with that intensity, I think it's easily avoidable, that goal. I don't read too much into it. Don't take the gloss off. Well, the fans weren't bothered anyway. They were singing to Declan Rice, you should have signed for a big club. I don't know if you noticed that. I thought I was hearing that. And then Tony, mate Tony, messaged me. He was at the ground, and yeah, he said that's exactly what they were singing. Third goal, Soufal crossed into the box. The head, I think it was a header, a sort of a clearance came out from the possibly the Arsenal central defenders, but it came down to Bowen. And Bowen hit the ball on a sort of half volley, really, really hard, right? And it was on target, but it got a deflection. It did get a deflection. There's no doubt about it. But it was a good goal. Again, don't let that fool you. It was fully deserved. And 3-0, we looked like the dangerous team. As I say, Bowen had nearly scored earlier. And at that point, obviously you're thinking, well, we're through. We're absolutely through at this point. It was a great goal, and I'll tell you why it was a great goal, because it was like the cherry on the cake, and he hit it so hard with such power, Bowen. It's just sometimes nice when you're doing well in a game and then a goal goes in that rips off the back of the net. It's pick that one out the back of the net if you're there. It was brilliant, and I just got to say, I thought it was a tremendous performance. I don't know how often you watch a game of football and you think everybody on that pitch did their job. Not only did their job and worked really hard. Look, I don't think Ben Rama had a brilliant game, right? But I tell you what, he worked so hard. There was a bit in the first half where it hadn't really worked for him trying to dribble past. I think he was actually dispossessed by Reece Nelson. He was struggling to outpace his marker. But Arsenal sprang a counter-attack, and it was him. He ramped back beyond Emerson. He found himself in a left-back position, won the tackle, retrieved the ball. And David Moyes would have loved that, would have loved it. It was just absolute commitment to the cause. And I only use him as the example because I thought he was our least effective outfield player. But he still played his part. He still did his role. He really, really did. I'll wrap things up now because we got going to do our player ratings tomorrow. We got other things to do. What I do want to do is just I want to talk about a couple of individual players, give my man of the match and that sort of thing. We just pop this in here. Simon, thank you very, very much, young sir. It is happy hammers tonight, mate. We really do appreciate that. Thank you very much indeed, mate. Very kind of you. Thank you. Well, we'll leave Kudus. Yeah, I think the man of the match actually. But we're leaving. Let's just talk about a couple of others first. I mentioned Vladimir Soufal, not his best game, but a winner, determined, a leader, real leadership from him actually. It can technically be found wanting at times, but when you've got that much desire, it's really impressive. I was impressed with Mavropanos. I was impressed with that pairing. Really did. Emerson, I'm going for all the team here. Emerson, it's just Mr. Consistent. It's really good. He's a really good player, much better than I thought he was. I want to leave some players to talk about tomorrow, as I say. We'll finish up with Mohammed Kudus. Should we do that? I think so. Incredible. An incredible footballer. Sometimes you have a player, and you could say this about Paquetá. I'm just talking about, because we spoke about Paquetá a lot, so let's talk about Kudus. Sometimes when you play in these big teams, they always have these players, don't they? These skillful players. And sometimes you have one yourself. Might be Carlos Tevez, it might be Dimitri Payet, whatever. Sometimes you've got one. sometimes your club have got one. And I tell you what, there was a point where it wasn't even one of his moves in attack. It was he won the ball back. Not only did he win the ball back, he shielded the ball. He did a twist. He did a turn. He was surrounded. And he used his skill, a flamboyant skill. Did his skill, played a 1-2, and then just nothing happened. It was just about West Ham retaining the ball. And we did retain the ball. And you just looked at him and you thought, wow, he's class. And it was one of those where you thought, what I'm saying, hey, we've got one of those. And I do wonder, I don't know what it's like to be an Arsenal fan or a Liverpool fan or a Man United fan or whatever. I often wonder with those, if you're one of those fans, do you look at a player like that and think, yeah, he's like what one of we've got? Do you know what I mean? And I just thought he had a tremendous performance. That their videos for David Moyes has got not a problem, nice problem, really nice problem now in the striking department because of what happened tonight. We'll leave it. It's a video for another day, possibly even tomorrow. But I just think it's really, time to enjoy that. Really thrilled, really thrilled with that. It's not often that you get to thrash, and can we call it? It was almost 3-0, wasn't it? It's 3-1. Can we call it a thrashing? I think we can. We deserve that. I think we've earned that. As jubilant as we'll be feeling tonight, Arsenal will be feeling, pretty down in the dumps about it. I'm sure they'll say, if you were to speak to an Arsenal fan, we don't care about that. We've got bigger fish to fry. We don't care about the Carabao Cup and all the rest of it. But you know what? I said this last season. I said this in the build-up. I think it was in the semi-final, build up to the semi-final. And I said to Gio, and if you're a regular watcher of the channel, you remember me saying this, hopefully. I said to him, Declan Rice's best chance of winning a trophy in his career is this season in the Conference League, because we're so far into it. It's not easy to get semi-finals, not easy to get the finals. And as much as I'm sure Arsenal might some of their fans might pretend that they're not asked about tonight, that'll be a blow to them. And because I'll tell you what, their manager cared, because when they were 2-0 down, he started making all those changes. Actually, he made changes at 3-0 down. That's how much he thought he wanted to do it. They don't need to be doing that. They got a really tough trip to St James's Park coming up as well. He didn't want that. Listen, I often criticise Mikel Arteta because he's a grumpy sod, isn't he, really? But he's a determined swine, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? He's got that winning mentality. Really, he did not want to lose that. So forget what you hear from any Arsenal fans that have been very, very disappointed there. But West Ham were too good in both halves for two different reasons. I think you saw consummate professionals putting absolute effort in. They're going to be knackered. They're going to be absolutely cream cracker. But I tell you what, I was pleased to see it. I think that it was like the Brighton game. I know that was 3-1 as well. But we were better. I think we were better. We restricted Arsenal even more than we'd restricted Brighton, if you know what I mean. Incredible performance. When it works like that, it's really something to behold. But I tell you what, I really do think looking at that, Kudus is key to that. It's just that extra. It's that extra attacking midfielder, winger, whatever you want to call it. That extra guy who's going to carry the ball, do some dribbles, do some of that good stuff that gets the fans off their seats. And as me jumping off my sofa, spilling tea down my trousers, or whatever the case may be, those players are really, really important, and it's going to be incredibly difficult for David Moyes to drop it. I don't think David Moyes will want to drop him. Why would he? It's really, really interesting. I honestly, I really didn't expect to see somebody play on that right hand side and you look at him and you think, he's as they're different players, but you think, he's as effective as Bowen, isn't he? And you've got to play both of them in the team. Anyway, listen, thanks so much for tuning in and for joining in with all the silliness at the in the build-up show. I'm sorry the bet didn't come in, but there you go. I am sort of sorry. What did we say? We said 3-2, didn't we, to West Ham? And a couple of other bits and pieces which didn't happen as well. But it's so much to scrutinise in a good way, so much to look at in that performance. I'm going to stop waffling now. I've been talking to myself. Well, not talking to myself, I've been talking to you, lovely people, for nigh on 20 minutes. Michael, listen, Michael Levy Jr. Let me tell you now, just before I go anywhere, Michael Levy Jr. is a fantastic singer. He's a proper West Ham fan. I would, if you could do nothing else today, go and stick. He's out in Spain. At the say in Tenerife, not Spain. He's out. Same thing in it. Spa, no, it's an island, but he's a West Ham fan. He's got some gigs coming up. I think they're over in Loughton. I think his gigs are over in Loughton. Go and Google him, Michael Levy Jr. Go and give him some support and go and watch him. If you're over in that area, he's got a couple of gigs coming up before Christmas. Go and support him. He's a really, really good guy. Michael, I'm not going to answer your question, mate, because that's a video. Funny enough, it's probably going to be my video for tomorrow, so I don't want to do kipping myself out of a video. Thank you for joining me. I'm absolutely buzzing, everyone. Absolutely buzzing. I'm sure you are too. It's late in it, but have a lovely rest of the evening, and I will catch up with you. Please, sorry, I always forget to say like the video and all that. Thumbs up if you'd be so kind, please. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, we'd very much love it if you did that. We've also got a second channel called the Hammers Chat Forum channel. I'll be live on there. I won't be live. I'll be a video on there tomorrow about Bowen and about Kudus and all that stuff. Go and give that a little thumbs up and a little subscribe if you would, please. And please do check out our Patreon channel. We've got loads of stuff. We've got the Anton Ferdinand podcast on there. We'll have Anton responding to all that. He does a regular podcast with us over at Hammers Chat. We've got loads and loads of content on there. And we've got the Hammerlytics team. We'll be telling you exactly why we were able to pull Arsenal's pants down. That's why they're Hammerlytics. They don't say stupid things like I just said then. They'll tell you why it happened, not talking about pants and bums and stuff like that. Thank you very much indeed. Oh, hold on a second. Let me just pop this up, because I haven't seen that. We'll be live later with a watch along for the draw. Sorry, Charlie, I do apologise, my friend. That's Charlie typing that. So a watch along for the draw. Go and join Charlie for that. That would be really cool. Live in about 30 minutes on this channel. So there you go. Just subscribe to Everything Hammers Chat. We'd really appreciate that. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm going to go get myself a cup of tea. Cheers, Charlie.